What's out there is a direct reflection of what's in here. You're not going to manifest what you want, you're going to manifest what you are, right? Because you're looking at yourself in the mirror, right? Am I going to manifest a bigger bicep by imagining a bigger bicep, or am I going to look at that bicep in the mirror? It's going to be a direct reflection of how big my bicep is.
If nobody told you, I'ma tell you you go down. If nobody told you, I'ma tell you you go down. You got light inside you.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Cal, bringing you another video on the channel. To the ladies and gentlemen back home, bring it on! What's going on, guys? Today, I was brushing my teeth, and as I looked at myself in the mirror, I saw two things. How ugly I would... No, I saw two things. My self-image and my authenticity, right? And my authenticity is who I really am. And so I started to kind of think about it a little bit more. And I compared how human beings have a self-image of themselves because they have the ability to hypothesize and self-reflect when compared to animals who do not have the ability to self-reflect. And a lot of times, in my opinion, we have been conditioned as human beings to believe in this self-image over our authenticity, right? So you could look at this as like 51-49. 51% self-image, 49% authenticity. And a lot of times it's out of balance, right? Because we're constantly changing our habits, we're constantly changing our behaviors to fit a mold of a certain social standard, what to be accepted, to fit in. And in certain situations, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. And I have found myself guilty of this. I care about, to a certain extent, what others think of me. Not just as like you do, and I'm sure every other human being does to some extent. But in the past, I used to care a ton about what people thought about me. And a lot of times, this would dictate my reality. I would constantly be thinking, I would constantly be worried about what others were like, if they were judging me, how they were comparing me, where my social hierarchy was, like every movement I took. It was bad, all right, period. And that ruined the in-the-moment experience that I was having with individuals such as Jordan, such as Dalton, like all my bullies back in high school, who when I was around, and I wasn't around in an environment where I would act inauthentic, I was able to act authentic in those environments, right? But a lot of times, looking back on it, in high school, I used to act really inauthentic internally, right? Externally, I wasn't like fake. I wasn't, being rude to anybody. I wasn't being like a dickhead or anything, but it was internal inauthenticity because I was listening to that voice in my head rather than letting my authenticity flow through me. And as I brought up earlier, animals let that innate force flow through them, right? They don't have a voice in their head talking to them being like, hey dude, don't do that, hey dude, don't do this. Obviously it's different with instincts like fight or flight. They are able to constantly be in the here and now and not get sucked into the imaginary. And through this we can see that animals are a lot more happy than humans. Animals are highly emotionally intelligent. And I was reading this book, and it was discussing how Tibetans in the eastern side of the world live in one of the most underdeveloped countries known to mankind, right? So externally, they have very low quality of life. While you look over here in the West, we have a very high quality of life, like we have great infrastructure, we have great medicine, we have great food supply, we have great technology, right? When you compare the two, but we are also very internally undeveloped. And then you go back to the East, right? They have such an external low quality of life, but yet they're so happy all the time. What is that? That difference? I think it comes into play with the self-image, right? Because the more you flow through and you let that natural, innate authenticity flow through you, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You just act like yourself, who you truly are. You keep it real without even thinking. right? Because when you start thinking too much, when you don't need to think, that's when things start to get out of balance. And I am guilty of this myself too. In certain environments, in certain situations, I find that past conditioning of high school come up once again, and I act on it. Remember, we have the ability to control how we react to these internal forces that come up. So whether it's that past conditioning, that past behaviors that you do, and it's coming up in the now because your brain is accustomed to it, try to be aware of it. Try to be like, okay, I know this is my self-image. I know this is my ego right now, right? My ego, my identification with form, right? That false self. And see if you can kind of cater it back by being in the here and now, whether that's focusing on your breath, just being like, okay, you feel all these forces. It's cool. No, you're not trying to suppress them, right? You're just everything. Say, like just yesterday, I was in the gym with a really hot chick, right? And I acted on my past conditioning. I wanted to go up to her, but my body and mind was doing everything in its power not to do that. Why? Because I feared going up to her, right? And fight or flight, your body wants to stay safe because it feels threatened. And so I was sitting down, and like I was doing deadlift, she was right over there, and I wanted to go over to her, but my brain kept making excuses. My mind kept on coming up with thoughts of my own self-image. Oh, maybe I go up to her and I look like a dumbass, which I wouldn't be surprised if I did. But listen, all right, that is a fear state of mind. You don't know what's going to happen until it actually happens. Who knows? I could have gone up to that girl, gotten her number, boom, we could be chit-chatting right now. But it is that difference between the self-image and authenticity. And so if you can let that authenticity flow through you and what you truly want in life, then you will be able to manifest what you want easier, because what's out there is a direct reflection of what's in here. You're not going to manifest what you want, you're going to manifest what you are, right? Because you're looking at yourself in the mirror, right? Am I going to manifest a bigger bicep by imagining a bigger bicep, or am I going to look at that bicep in the mirror? It's going to be a direct reflection of how big my bicep is. All right, so if you can kind of see there, you only attract who you are. So you have to embody this self-image, I guess you could say. Observe it, look at it, and then let it flow through you into your authenticity by being in the here and now and letting go of your thoughts and just doing what you want. And this will allow you to not suffer as much. You're not going to be thinking as much because you're not going to be thinking about so many scenarios. And just like an animal, you can bounce back from adversity in high intense situations faster than you normally would, right? Because you have this foundation of awareness. So I just wanted to get this video off my chest, and I found it really, really interesting. And that epiphany I had while brushing my teeth was like, damn! I was like, oh shit, I gotta share this. That was like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. I'll definitely clarify. But yeah, love yourself because I love you, baby. And yeah, peace. Out.
If nobody told you, I'ma tell you you go down. If nobody told you, I'ma tell you you go down. You got light inside you. You got light inside you. One love, one heart. Let's stay together and feel alright. One love, one heart.